Hello and welcome to the Celtic Down Under podcast. I'm your host, Jarrod, and joining me tonight are John and Sean. How are you, John?
I'm good. Excitingly, I booked my flight back to Edinburgh this year for Christmas. So, yeah, that's an exciting thing to look forward to, finally getting to see the family and stuff. Probably see a few Celtic games when I'm over there. So, yeah, good week.
Yeah. How are you, Sean?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm still not allowed out of the state yet, or well, to be more accurate, not allowed back in. So I've no flights booked for me. Yeah, it's going okay. I had some chocolates sitting out for trick or treaters the other night. Not a single one came to the door, apart from a bit later in the night when they came visiting with some eggs to share with me in my garage. Eggs are not fun to clean off a garage.
No.
I think everyone listening would be thinking, better you than me, Sean.
It could be worse. I heard that some poor kids in Glasgow got Sevco season tickets in their trick-or-treat bag.
Yeah,
that is spooky.
Yeah, sick. Some sick people.
Right in there. They don't even have to dress up, though, because they're all zombies. So
zombies,
they just wear their everyday costume.
Yeah.
Yeah,
somebody put 1 million Sevco shares into their bag. This is shite. Can I not get a Snickers?
All right, so everyone, if you can do us a favour and just, if you haven't already done so, please subscribe to the Celtic Down Under podcast. If you're listening via Apple Podcasts or Spotify, please leave us a review, preferably 5 stars, because that means you're the best in our eyes anyway. So it's a couple of games to discuss and a few little topics, and then we'll just crack on straight into it. So, Sean, I'll throw to you first. Celtic 3, Hibs 1. I'll get the starting lineup here. So we started with Joe Hart in goals. Left back was Juranovic. Starfelt, Carter Vickers at centre back. Ralston at right back. Turnbull, McGregor, Rogic in the midfield. Mikey Johnson out left. Jota out right. And Kyogo through the middle. What was your thoughts when you saw the lineup and how the game played out?
I actually wasn't planning to get up for this one because it was at 2:45 a.m. But then my wife woke me up with her snoring. I was like, fuck it, I'm up. So I did watch it, and I was interested to see the lineup. Giakoumakis back on the bench, which was I expected in that. And we started on fire. We absolutely killed them in the first 30 minutes. And that's something we've done a few times down the year. We did it at Pittodrie a couple of years ago, and I think we've done it. I mean, it's the first time we've won at Easter Road since 2014, so maximum credit, Considering we hadn't won an away game for 6 months, that's now 3 on the bounce. And I was saying to you guys on the chat on the side, like, when we were, after the Dundee United draw, we were previewing, we've got Motherwell, Aberdeen and Hibs away, and I was saying, I can't see us getting any more than 4 points from that, and here we've got 9. So that's brilliant in all of those contexts. And also we played great on the day. Tom Rogic absolutely killed them first half. Alex Gogic was lucky to make it to half-time. Joe Hart made 2 great saves that would have... So, 3-1 flattered them, but also they had 2 one-on-one chances that Joe Hart pulled off world-class saves with. So, even though the score flattered them and Mikey Johnson was great and was just a bee's dick away from putting one on a plate for Kyogo, it could have still gone wrong with those one-on-one efforts. Hibs played better second half, but overall, win at Easter Road, first time in 7 years, brilliant.
Yeah, Sean, I just want to quickly do something here. 4 points, you said we'd get out of the 9.
Yeah. Yeah,
just
happy to be wrong.
I'm just glad you were wrong.
No, so am I. Yeah, I'm delighted. I'm not going to try and defend my position there. I'm delighted.
They're the ones you want to be wrong for, so that's good.
Exactly.
So what was your take on the game, John?
Much the same as Sean's. I thought the first 30 minutes, obviously, we absolutely just smashed them. I thought it was good to see Mikey Johnson back in the first team. And I thought he played well. It's not really in his game to make, runs to the byline and then cross it in. But I think when he cuts in and he tries to do all that stuff where he's passing around the front of the box, it's great. I enjoy that from his game. I thought I think this is the first game we've been really seeing some of the players really sort of gelling together in an exciting way, more so than we've seen before. Like, I hate the term, but that sort of ticky-tacky stuff, that's, the quick passing around the box and stuff, was just fantastic to see. It was, Kyogo should have probably got a couple of those. Jota was, good and stuff. I'm pleased. Like we're saying, it's Easter Road is a hard venue for us away and stuff. So yeah, I'm generally pleased that we got that result. Second half obviously was a disappointment, but we just took our foot off the gas a little bit. I think Hibs came out a bit more.
Well, we looked visibly. Sorry, Jarrod.
Yeah, I agree with you what you're saying about the first half there for me, John. That's the thing of Ange ball. That's it, perfect. Like, that is the perfect example of what it is. Okay, we're a little wasteful with a couple of chances in the first half, and then in the second half, for me, it was more of the same, where Hibs come out, they could have scored a couple, we could have scored a few as well. So it's one of them games where it was 3-1 going on 7-2, 7-3, in my opinion. So it was one of those games we knew it'd be open. I'm not too upset about the second half. I'm just glad we got through it, and picked up the points. It's the main thing. What were you going to say, Sean?
No, I was going to just on the back of John's point about taking the foot off the gas. I actually thought we looked visibly tired. The players looked like, you could tell one by one, like, who was getting tired quickest. I was just sending messages. Oh, this player looks tired now. This player looks tired now. And like to my dad and brother, and I was like, yeah, we're keeping the ball in the corner. That was 2 whole minutes, 2.5 minutes keeping the ball in the corner was unbelievable. But my dad and brother were like, why the hell are we doing that? I was like, the players have looked out on their feet for the last 20 minutes. Do you know what I mean? Like, so even though, like, Andrew Ball you're talking about, I think we've still got a bit catching up to do in terms of sports science and squad management. And I get that the squad management thing is to do with how thin the squad is as well. But there's still some work to do there if we do want to have this relentless for 90 minutes, because we absolutely killed them for half an hour, and then it kind of tapered off to after an hour we were just kind of game managing, which is fine. We're already it worked, but I'm just saying, like, that's not where we want to be yet, but to get a full 90 minutes is, yeah.
Look, it's not necessarily where we want to be now, but
of course,
yeah, or ever, right? But I just from continuing what you're saying, I absolutely agree that sometimes that's how you win leagues, right? You do dominate for 30 minutes, 40 minutes, and then maybe the rest of the game you don't achieve that level of play and stuff, and the rest of the game is just about game management. So that's generally how you win 3 points. That's how you win a league. So it'd be great to see us playing like that for 90 minutes, and I think maybe we saw a bit of that during the Rodgers era and stuff, but I think that's how you win a league.
It's funny you say that, John, because I was going to jump in on what you were saying where, you win games on 20, 30-minute bursts or whatever, and then you bring up Rodgers. During that 60-odd game run where we didn't lose a game, we were doing that. We were going out there early on and we're just putting a few goals, and then we'll just cruise and then put another goal in after half-time and just cruise the rest of the second half. There was games where we'd battle it out to the 60-minute mark, then go whack, 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 3 quick goals, and then pretty much just, change the way we're playing, turn it down a tempo and just cruise it out. But I'm looking at it going, I'm not trying to forget the best way to say it. It's not a recency bias because of Ange's in the chair now, but what I'm thinking is we did that in the past. We managed games. There's nothing wrong with that, especially when, as Sean said, guys are looking visibly fatigued. Because we had so many injuries, guys have played a lot more minutes. Their workload's probably been higher than it should be, and we had no squad depth. Now we built that up. We've got another window coming up in 2 months' time. Strengthen again, get more squad depth, and off we go. And then by that time, end of January, sports science guys been in longer. More guys will get their fitness up. I think it's good that there's a clear chart. We're here, then we move to here, then we move to the next step, then we move to the next step, and grow and build as a program. It's not going to be like we just come in and we're suddenly the fittest team in the league. We saw the same thing here now, John, is what we're seeing, is what Ronnie went through in his first season. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
After Milan, there was no fitness. Ronnie's first season, we had to build up our player fitness. It's the exact same thing now.
Yeah. I think there's just a good point that we're bringing up and stuff here, but there's a couple of players you can see the experience where, which is where we have kind of clicked all of a sudden. There has been that click, Jarrod, I think, where it's just all of a sudden, before Ange came in, we were really struggling with players full stop. But to have these players come in that have the experience to be able to manage games that's such a massive bonus for us where we are right now. And you can see the difference. And I'll give you examples between how Abada and when he was here, Klimala played, where it was they both genuinely tried to just non-stop run for 90 minutes. And then you can compare that sort of work ethic to, say, how Edouard plays, where he's consistently trying to manage where he wants to, step up a gear and explode with energy and try and get a goal. And there's I think there's a bit of experience there. Obviously, the different types of players and stuff, but really what we want is the Edouard types, maybe a little bit more work ethic, or depending on the position, because I still think what he was doing was absolutely undeniably elite. What we want is players that have the experience to be able to know when to hunt, when to click, when to go, and when to maybe manage their energy levels. That's his experience.
Well, if you rotate, you don't really necessarily need that, but
and that's the benefit of maybe having a larger squad, which we also don't have right now.
Yeah,
we need two people at every position. We've been saying it for a while, and that's the one thing difference between us and Rangers. I'll say at the moment, you look at them, they take Morelos out, they bring Sakala in. We take Kyogo out. We've got Giakoumakis, great. But after that, what do we have? Look on the right wing, we've got Abada. We're moving Jota over there. For instance, you look at left back, we've got 5 options there, but we're playing a right back there. That's where we've got to just get this depth into the squad, but that'll take time. We said it would be a good, 2-3 windows before we get to that level. So we've just got to be a bit patient as a support, which actually ties into the next game. If you're done with the Hibs game, guys, we'll roll on to the Livy game.
Yeah.
I mean, the only thing I would mention to go with that night was how the fuck did John Beaton think that was a penalty? Would be the only other thing I would say.
Yeah.
That's
the Huns game, right? That's what you mean.
Yeah, I've watched it like 20 times and I still can't figure it out. Anyway,
nothing's going to happen. Let's just talk. Let's move on because I could talk an hour about that.
I don't even want to talk about it again because it's like we talk about this every second week, and it's like we're a selfish pod and we're given 5 minutes every week to just bagging out the rest because of calls Rangers got. I'm just done. I've had enough of that bullshit.
Yeah,
nothing's changing. Let's just accept the status quo.
Yep. So Livy, 0-0 draw. Same back 5 with Hart and goals. Ralston at right back, Carter Vickers and Starfelt at centre back, Juranovic at left back. Midfield, there was a change of Rogic out, Bitton in, along with McGregor and Turnbull. And then in this one, we gave Kyogo a rest, so Abada right, Jota left, Giakoumakis in the middle. Now, something I wanted to look at here was, this is the thing that annoyed the shit out of me on this game. And I'll let you guys get into it in more depth and whatever, right? But 16 shots to 2, 86% possession of their 14, 881 passes to their 154. Their pass accuracy was at 51%, ours was at 90. Yet somehow, with all that possession, it was 10 fouls each. That ties into what we we're just saying about the referees. And then the corners was 6-3. They had 5 offsides, 1 red card. All that sort of stuff, right? But the fouls, with the amount of possession we had, yet again, that's another thing. But we had enough chances, in my opinion. We should have converted, but there was a point, I can't remember when it was or which player it was, but there was a point, I think it was in the second half, where their striker gets the ball just about to cross the halfway line, and their manager is screaming at him to run to the corner, and there's still like 30 minutes to go. I'm like, what sort of anti-football is this? But we half expected that with Livy. So I just think as a supporter base, we look a little bipolar probably the nicest way to sum it up. In terms of, you see that everyone, they're all taking their happy pills on after the Hibs game. And just football's the best. This is the best football in the world. We're going to win the league. We're going to win the Europa League, blah, blah, blah. You see that shit. And then after the Livy game, we get booed off the pitch. And everyone, you see Twitter is just melting down. It's just like, patience, guys. Come on. But I'll throw to you, John. What's your thoughts on the game?
Well, where to begin? I think Livy just perfectly set up their tactics to get exactly what they wanted out of the game. I think it's very, very difficult, whatever team you are, to win games when your opposition just sits back for 90 minutes and tries to run out the clock with that, low block, 10 men behind the ball, not really trying to win the game, just trying to get a point. It's unbelievably difficult for the best of teams. To then throw in the factor which, a lot of these players are only, playing together for less than, half a year, not really experiencing opposition that are just there to try and get a draw. It's obviously not ideal. I don't think it's the catastrophe that maybe others do. To 4 points even before Christmas off the top, that's a good position for any team to be in. Are we so fearful of our own standards that we don't think that we're going to be able to, maybe get drawn by Christmas, or if not, go ahead? Like that of course, that's still an opportunity. It's still a possibility. There's a couple of things. Obviously, look, we can talk about the penalty, and we could talk about maybe like Giakoumakis, maybe not shouldn't have taken it in the first place. By all accounts, what Andrew was saying afterwards, he was and is the penalty taker when he's on the pitch, and Jovanovic is just the second, person to take them after when he's not on the pitch. I'm absolutely fine with that. I remember watching the game thinking, oh, Jesus, the pressure he must be under. In front of all the Celtic fans, it's a 0-0, it's right at the end of the game. And he's probably not used to that level of pressure. So, yeah, look, I give him the benefit of the doubt there, and he can only get better. So, and there was obviously the opportunities elsewhere. I think there was a Kyogo opportunity, which he just, ran through the legs of all the players, and all he had to do was tap it in, and just don't think he realised it was going to get through to him. I think I remember seeing as well the RXG by the end of the game was over 2. So for all intents and purposes, we should have won the game. The first half was just, not good as far as actually trying to break down the low block. And I think in games like that, we just have to up the tempo of passing around and trying to take different opportunities rather than trying to pass through the middle or take long shots. Things like, I think Turnbull and McGregor were trying to do that at some points. So look, I think we can all agree we expected this from Livingston. It's difficult to break down a low block for 90 minutes. And I don't think the season's over just because we drew at home to Livingston.
We talked about this a few weeks ago, and I brought it up then. Like when you're playing against these low blocks, is you have to rely on the low percentage things. Like we talked about the Turnbull long range goal, and I'm saying, well, how often does that go in? Well, he's not scored one since. We talked about the set piece headers. Like that's a higher percentage than the long range shots, but it's still a low percentage. We got 2 against Hibs, so there we've used up our quota for the week. So do you know what I mean? Like we weren't game planning for these kind of goals that you need to get to break down these teams. And yeah, that's really what you need to do is when there's so many, the XG you're talking about, all that really accounts for is the position you're on the pitch when you take the shot. It's not accounting for the fact that you're taking a shot from 15 yards and there's 10 bodies in front of you. Do you know what I mean? Like it could be one-on-one with the goalkeeper from 15 yards, or it could be 10 players blocking you and it's giving you the same XG.
I'm a pinball, Sean.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, exactly. So you know what I mean? You know what I mean? But yeah, I think we didn't necessarily game plan for what Livingston came to do. they had a better game plan, and if we were putting out that game plan against Barcelona or Real Madrid, we'd be celebrating it. So I'm not going to kill them for it. We were holding the ball in the corner against Hibs again, so I'm not going to kill them for that tactic. And I think the only realistic difference we could have made was, other than personnel, other than having someone like Bo Baldy or Chris Julian to ping the ball towards, or Chris Sutton, that's the only, as a personnel thing. But in terms of what we could have done different on the day, the only thing really would be, as you said, John, would be to just have more intensity, greater tempo. What you're saying, Jarrod, about the 10 fouls thing, I've been kind of keeping, because we have been committing more fouls in opposition teams, I've been like, right, we're getting different referees every week and it's always the same outcome. So that's kind of suggests to me it's not really the referees. So I'm like, what's going on here? And what I'm thinking is that, so we obviously put in a high press and a hard press. So your players that are not defenders tackling for the ball, right? So straight away, that's players that aren't gifted that are doing that. So that's going to give you fouls. And another thing I've noticed as well from opposition players is they play for fouls, whereas we are playing for the ball. So if say like a Livingston player gets into our half, he's the only player against Joe Hart and 3 Celtic defenders. He's looking for contact from a Celtic player. So I actually noticed that against Motherwell a couple of weeks ago. Who was the player? Tony Watt. So what he does when the ball's in the air is he backs into the defender and then he just flops as soon as the ball touches. So if the ball hits him in the chest and there's a Celtic defender touching him, he just flops. And like half the time the referee waits play on and half the time he gets a foul. And for them, that's a good tactic to do that. Like, they know they're not going to get it every time, but if he tries to play on and tries to play the ball and try to keep possession, then he knows he's going to lose it. So that's a 50-50 shot at a foul is better for them than try to keep possession.
I'll just clarify what I meant by that, Sean. Okay, yes, we are pressing. I understand that we will have a high percentage of fouls further up the pitch. But what I was referring to that annoys me is if we had 10 fouls called in our favour, the majority of those fouls are just waved as advantage.
Yeah, no, that's another thing. Yeah.
You're saying, like Tony Watt plays for the foul, he gets a free kick. You look against Rangers, the first home game last year, where Christie would give those fouls up the pitch and then they put those 2 crosses in for Goldson to score. Those things they play and they get the foul, the ref blows it, they get the set piece. We don't get the set piece because he just goes advantage and play on. That's the thing what I'm talking about in the foul count. Yes, it was 10-all. We had a lot more possession. I understand that. But it's how those fouls are being called in the game.
But that's coaching. It's coaching, though, because the players have been coached to maybe our coach just is averse to it, or maybe he just knows that we're not very good at scoring from set pieces or whatever. But it's coaching. Steven Gerrard tells Morelos and Roof to go down like a sack of potatoes, whereas our coach says try and stay on your feet, try and get the ball off. Like if you do win a foul, get it moving straight away. Do you know what I mean? Like it's coaching.
I'll just adjust my tinfoil hat here a little bit. I do think they're getting direction. I think the refs are getting overall direction from somebody to make sure that goes certain ways.
It's got to be a referee's boss somewhere. Like we've got that. We've got that in the A-League where you've got the head of referees, which is like Strebro Jaloski used to ref, and he was like the dodgiest fucking ref over here, in my opinion. He was just shit. But he's now running the refs. But he's got 3 full-time refs who are FIFA accredited, and then he's got these other guys who are part-time refs. So there's got to be someone over in Scotland in the Strebro role over here overseeing the refs and saying, these are our points of emphasis this week. This is what we want to make sure that we're calling. Because you see that in other sports.
I think that's a guarantee.
You also got other things like referees have came out and said that they actively amongst themselves talk about who goes down easy and things like that. So if you get like a couple of occasions, like Edward dived, I think 2 times that I remember to try and win a penalty, Edward took a dive. So then he's not going to get any 50-50 fouls in future because it's now spreading around the referee circles. He goes down easy.
Which is so interesting because to me, in my head, that just backs up that when you can see the other side, we'll just discuss how they might have been coached to go down easy for certain challenges. If refs are having those open conversations saying they discuss who goes down easy, why is it not just every forward who's wearing the blue top?
Because I'm making the point that they do it against Celtic, but not necessarily against other teams.
No,
yeah,
Johnson will get the calls on.
Yeah. No,
so every forward in a blue top, Vincent Johnson will get it. Dundee will get every call. You know, everyone will change their tops to blue except for us, just to get all the calls. You know how it is.
I'm fine with that. I think, look, just going back to the Livy game, right? They had set up. I think just to clarify what me and Sean were saying about like intensity and tempo, I think there was times when we were sending the ball out to our wingers, and Livy had 3 players on us at one point. Not just like what we used to with the 2. They had 3 defenders straight up, and it just records us to pass. The winger would pass it back to say McGregor or Turnbull, whoever.
Yeah,
the tempo and the fast pace, the fast passing and stuff needs to be in more of a counter-attacking sense. So we need to draw when in those small opportunities where, and it did happen when Livy actually bring some of their midfield and some of their forwards out. That's when we need to then, when we win the ball back, really quickly shift the ball up and try and get an opportunity there. Because just moving it fast across the front of the box to our wingers, the crossing is just not gonna work. Like, it's just the opportunity there, and we're not going to be able to take a long shot because, like you say, the pinball stuff and all that. So it has to be when you can get Livy players or whoever it is doing the low block to move towards the halfway line, and if not, over it, and then you hit them hard and fast.
Something that popped into my head just then is Ange, previously when he's coaching over here and at the Socceroos, his teams would have, they'd press, they'd go hard, and if someone was sitting back deep, they would retreat and bring the attackers back outside the box so the defence has got to step up. Then one of the 8s or the 6 would then hit a diagonal ball over to the other winger to get him behind, and then they get in the byline and look for a cutbacks to get him behind them and have to turn the defenders around. I haven't seen us do that much this season at all. And that's something that, now that I think back, Melbourne Victory did that all the time. He did that a lot at Brisbane Raw. He did that at the Socceroos. I'm like, once that starts coming into it, that could possibly fix this issue as well.
Yeah, it's actually a really difficult thing to plan for. Is just when a team wants to have a low block for 9 minutes. You look, we're talking about one scenario in which you could potentially get some goals, which is exactly what we're discussing. But the opportunities of those will be far and few between. And most of the game will be where you try and move everybody, including your defenders, up past the halfway line to try and get a goal. And sometimes you just need a bit of luck there. You just need to hope for a deflection, or somehow you can get somebody out of position and make an error for half a second, and then you get through. And that's experience and, talent and
We
stuff.
just scored the early goal, John, and then they won't be able to sit back as bad. And then after coming out and play, and then that puts that
exactly.
That's something Rodgers used to talk about all the time, getting the first goal early.
He did. And in fact, the fans came to expect it, right? Sorry, Sean. The fans came to expect it. We used to complain about not scoring a goal in the first 15 minutes. It's like, that's a hard thing to do. But, that was the Rodgers style.
Yeah, I was going to just say, I felt that we really missed Tom Rogic as well. Like what he did against Hibs, he could have done against Livingston. And if you look at what was the Anthony Ralston goal, he won the free kick for that. Stuff like, he's just, I don't know, he just has a really great timing and vision for his final pass. It's not always the most accurate, but he sees things that other people don't see and just has good kind of instinct for that. And we did miss that. And Postecoglou said before the match, the 2 names he actually dropped as replacements were Kalmak and Jota is to replace his number 10. He didn't actually say David Turnbull, and then when we played Livy, it was David Turnbull. But Turnbull can't actually do the things that Tom Rogic can do. As good as he is, he can't do those things.
Yeah. Different type of player.
I would like Jota in there. I think like something I was thinking about last week is that Jota looks like a number 10, like that he can play there. And another thing that I was actually thinking about is that Ralston looks like a centre back sometimes. And I can see a game coming up in the near future where we've got a couple of injuries and he gets put in there.
What about 7 centre backs? So how many injuries are we going to need?
Well, no, we've not, because who's in now? Welsh, and then who's after that? It's Dane Murray, isn't it?
That's true.
And Scales.
Oh, Scales, forgot about him.
Oh.
Yeah, okay.
God, when it? Yeah. Completely forgot about him as well. Hopefully he'll get more of a run of the games.
Yeah, I'll look at it and go, Jota would be good in the 10, but someone else who I think could also play that would be Mikey.
Yeah.
As a 10.
He was great against Hibs. I'm not surprised he didn't start against Livy, given how much he put in against Hibs and how long he's been out. But he was great.
Yeah,
best I've seen him.
For us, I reckon. Yeah,
yeah.
We actually have quite a lot of joy, quite a lot of experience now in our attackers. I mean, both wingers, our forward and our attacking midfield, we can kind of rotate a lot of them around, if you know what I mean. Jota can play both sides. Kyogo could play through the middle or to the left. Forrest can sort of maybe flick between the two, but obviously he's better on the right and stuff. And, you know, what we're saying about Jota. And even, correct me if I'm wrong here, but did Kyogo not drop into the turn role for the Livy game?
I think for the last
20 minutes or 15. Yeah, right. I think if I remember rightly, I think he did. Which was because I seem to remember the commentator saying that's interesting that Kyogo dropped there. So might even have Kyogo playing in those anywhere, probably in the front four, I guess.
Just play him and Giacomakis together as a pair. You got a target man and a secondary striker playing off him as a 10.
Yeah, I actually think on the Ralston thing, I think if we were to try and stick two up front and we were to go to a back three, I think we might see Ralston as the third,
playing on the right.
Playing on the right as the third centre back. Yeah, exactly the way that Lustig used to do. I think that might be something he might be able to do, which would work fine for us. And the more opportunities, especially I can't remember what the game was, but Bitton was playing as the defensive midfielder, and then he dropped in. Oh, it was the Livy game, wasn't it? And he dropped into defence when Starfelt came off.
Oh, you mean Sunday there? Saturday?
Yeah.
Again, drinking.
Yeah, that's the issue in it when it's that time. I think he did. And anyway, that's even more options and even more depth. So it's just good to see that. And hopefully when we do move into the January transfer window, we buy those types of players that can play in more than just one position. So.
Mm-hmm.
So, Sean, you added something to the run sheet there. A couple of things that you want to discuss. You've got about the women's game and you've got another topic there, so I'll throw it to you.
Yeah, it was when we went on that little run of clean sheets there, the 2-0, 2-0, 2-0. I was like, right, we might have actually cracked this, got the defence sorted. And hearing that I'm actually just trying to confirm it just now because it's been 2 games since I looked it up. But hearing that we have the best defensive record, is that still accurate, that we have the best defensive record in the league?
I think so, yeah.
Anyway, so what I did was I went back and I was like, right, does having the best defensive record correlate to being the best team? So I went down and I just kept going, kept working my way back.
Yeah, we do, Sean.
And the way we do good, yeah, because it was Dundee United and Hearts at the time, but yeah,
we're 1 goal better off than Dundee United. We had conceded 7, they conceded 8.
Cool. So I was working my way back and just seeing, right, that the best team with the best defensive record win the league, and no matter how far back I went, it kept a pretty steady trend at 75% of the time. The team with the best defense wins the league. So if we can keep the defense sorted, or even whatever you want to look at it, then we basically have a 3 times better chance. It's 3-1 that we'll win the league if we can keep the defense sorted.
So basically, what you're saying, Sean, is offense gets the glory, but defense wins the game.
So there's actually a saying that what I've heard before is the saying that goals win you games, but defense wins you leagues. That's the saying that goes back.
There you go.
Yeah. So
Do we not have the best fucking offensive record as well just now? Are we not like...
Well, the Huns scored 6 at the weekend, so probably not.
Oh, probably not now. That's true. Yeah. Well, we'll change that shortly. But yeah, Christ, that's great to hear. And we've even got Julian to come back in. Do you know what I mean? So we potentially could only get stronger.
I wouldn't be expecting too much on him. Let's be honest. Like everyone's like, Julian's coming back, and everyone's got this, this feeling warm and fuzzy. Oh, this 6'7" centre back's coming back, but he had so many. Like, he's a good player. Don't get me wrong, but he had so many moments where he was a bit of a bomb scare here and there, and he'd make mistakes. And it's going to take him coming back off a knee injury. It's going to take him time to get up to speed, get his fitness up, and get used to the way Ange plays and all that sort of stuff. So, realistically, I think we've got to give him a good 3-4 month run in the team before we can expect him to be a difference maker.
All right, like injuries aside, right? If we had peak Julian, just there to
he'd be straight in instead of Starfelt.
Yeah, okay, that's what I was going to ask. Who would you rather, Starfelt or Julian? Yeah,
I'm not even sure he fits the system we're playing, but he is a set piece threat, and we need that. We could have done with it at the weekend.
Yeah.
If you're relying on Anthony Ralston to score your goals,
Oh, well, yeah.
Hey, stop bagging out Ralston.
Yeah, he comes in.
You're going to have to deal with 4 more years of him.
I do have a few things to say about him when we get to that topic. That are all
let's jump straight to it, and then we can discuss the women's off the back of that.
Okay. So yeah, it was when I'm actually delighted that he signed that contract. I'll always call back to when I seen him playing as a 16, 17-year-old for Queen's Park in the flesh, and I was very impressed then. And I thought he'd fucked it up, but he's turned it around this year, and it's brilliant. So he's turning 23 in 2 weeks' time. But what jumped out at me from his interview about signing this new contract is that he has a child, and I'm like, that's pretty young to have a kid, and apart from Lee Griffiths accidentally impregnating people, like it sounds like he deliberately has a kid, which is quite a strange thing to have for someone that age, especially a footballer. So yeah, I'm feeling that might have made the difference. Just putting 2 and 2 together and maybe getting 5, but I feel like maybe that's what settled him down and actually changed them into the player he is now. So I don't see it changing. I don't see him dropping off. I see him being a settled and focused player from now on.
What do you think it is, John? What do you think the reason?
I maybe just given the right system and the right opportunity. Just on Ralston's age, sometimes I forget how young he is. You look at him and you could easily say he's 35 years old. Do you know what I mean? Like there's, he has a dead old soul, doesn't he? But maybe a bit of maturity is really what I think that's what you're saying, Sean. And that's probably just, made him concentrate and be focused and crack on with, his career and stuff. But look, I'm elated. I think that he's gone ahead and signed this quite a long deal and stuff. I mean, that gets us to about 27, 28, right? So that's
going on his prime, so that's good.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look, if he continues at the pace he is, he'll probably get another shorter contract towards the end because we want him to be at Celtic during his peak, right? But I really, really like Ralston. I think he's a very, very good player. It's his top to lose, his position to lose right now. There's still a bit of me that thinks that for us to then progress to the next level, maybe in the next 18 months to 2 years, we will still need another right back. And to have Ralston still at the club is a fantastic thing, especially if we're going to, need to rotate players and injuries and all that stuff. But I think long term, much longer than this season or even into next, I would probably see another right back coming in still.
He's still going to be on relatively shite money. Do you know what I mean? Like he'll be on David Turnbull money. Do you know what I mean? Like what? Yeah. Somewhere between 6,000 and 10,000. Like he's not on Callum McGregor 25,000. Do you know what I mean? Like he's not anywhere near that. So
that's good backup money. Let's be honest. What we're paying there,
squad player.
If you got him on that, and you've got say Juranovic, you're probably paying him 15 to 20. So if you've got 2 of them covering the right back position for 30,000, that's pretty good.
Yeah, I don't know if Juranovic is going to be playing right back long term. Maybe it means I was getting a better left back, but I feel like when we don't have a full left back flying, he's moving over there. So that still puts a big gap in the right back position, I think.
We talked about this before with these teams like Porto and stuff that challenge in Europe is the way they build their squad is they have like a dozen or more players on that kind of salary, and then they'll have 4 or 5 big jump between those, almost like the US system and the Australian system where you have the marquee players. Celtic just don't have that. It's just really a linear sliding scale from the captain down. And it's, I don't know, maybe we should be looking at that. I don't know. But either way, Ralston's the sort of player on that sort of salary that you need in your squad. Someone you can trust and rely on and is not bursting the bank.
Do you know who Ralston's? This has just come to me just now. He screams of Izagiri, to be honest. Peak Izagiri, right? So like someone that we can all acknowledge that probably isn't where we want to be, but is still a very good player. And even when they're, the second in the hierarchy of that position, you're still quite happy with that.
Are you meaning after Izagiri come back from his busted leg?
No.
Or before that?
Yeah, before.
Before he broke his leg was unbelievable.
Yeah. That's what
player of the year in the league, mate. So just to say that Ralston's ahead of that, you kind of put your foot in your mouth.
No, I don't think he's ahead of it. No, I don't think he's ahead. I mean that's a similar type. Do you know what I mean? For me, I would categorize Ralston just now and Izagiri at his best in a recognition that they're good players and all of that. But is that really where we want to be long term? Probably not. We probably still need someone to come in, or either side, because we discussed, like Juranovic's stuff can play either side. So we either need a better left back or we need a better right back.
I think if Juranovic is a starting right back for Croatia, with how well they are, I think he's good enough for a right back position with Ralston as backup. It's a matter of getting Taylor back at left back so that Ant has someone that he trusts there, and then. In a year's time, we need to upgrade over Taylor. I'm not saying he's the answer there. Don't get me wrong at all there. He's not the answer. Yeah. He's a good player. He's serviceable. But do you see Monty developing to take that spot and be the number one left back? Who knows? Do you see Scales doing that? No, I think if we played a back three, Scales' ideal position would be on the left side of a back three. That's where I think he's better suited. And then who else would you have at left back? Like, are you going to play Bolingoli? Bolingoli suits Ange's system perfectly, in my opinion. But are we as a fan base going to believe in him and give him a second chance? Probably not. So,
probably not as a fan base. I'm certainly not. But
exactly.
Not me as an individual, no.
Yeah. There's
so
many players there that we've acknowledged that probably fits Ange's system, is better than somebody who's ahead of him, blah blah blah. I still feel like that group of players isn't where we need to be to get to that the Champions League levels that we were when Rodgers was around and we had Dembele and stuff. Like we still need to. There's still a gap between where we are now and where we should be.
Ideally, John, if we could grab that whole group of players and go, let's take Bolingoli's attack and put Taylor's defense with it.
Yeah.
Then you've got Tierney. Let's be honest.
That's
what we're missing.
Yeah, exactly. And even then, Tierney wasn't the best defender at the time. Anyway, he was.
But where he was able to bob up and then Lustig would duck in and be a solid back three. So that was how he offset that. But I don't know. It's one of them things where that is a weak spot for us. I think collectively there's a good player there, but not when it's spread over four or five players.
That's where we're at right now. But having Ralston in and around the team, no matter what we're talking about, anything else, 4-year deal is fantastic. He deserves it. He's definitely brought his game up. So yeah, pleased for him.
All right, let's kick on to the next topic. So Sean, you had about the Celtic women's result.
Yep, just wanted to just celebrate that. It's always good when you can win a Glasgow derby. So we managed to pump the Rangers in the Sevco in the Cup 1-0. Charlie Wellings scored the only goal of the game. Our summer signing from down in England, Bristol. So that's us into the semi-finals of the Women's Cup. So always a good thing. I've decided to follow Charlie on Twitter. It's interesting because a couple of weeks ago she scored a couple of goals and Celtic had tagged her on their Twitter, and it wasn't even her. It was just somebody else called C. Wellings. So now they've figured out who the correct Charlie Wellings is, and she's getting some of the appreciation and love that she deserves when you score the winning goal against Sevco in a cup derby.
Well, that's awkward, Celtic.
Yeah. Because I clicked on it and I was like, who the hell is this person? It's not even the same first name.
Probably some person works at a bloody movie place selling popcorn. Getting thousands of likes. There you go. Lovely. So talking about Glasgow Derby, Rangers fans will be locked out of the next Glasgow Derby. So my question, boys, who's going to referee the game then?
Willie Collum?
That was good, Jarrod. I like that.
Just had to say it. It's good though that we're responding in the same way. They lock our guys out. Fuck yes. It's good to see. I want us to be a bigger club and be better than them, but at the same time, I want us to be just as petty. Being like, you guys are a bunch of pricks. Jam it. So good. Happy days.
I think that Celtic are setting up a little trap here because they know that the rule doesn't, like nobody was complaining because of the red zone thing, but now the red zone thing's gone. That the rule now applies about away fans getting tickets. So now if we don't agree, they have to then go to the SPFL, who they're fighting with, and ask to be given tickets. So they have to look for the SPFL to help them to get tickets. I think we're setting it up.
Love it.
Yeah, I think we're setting up
exactly what we're doing. That's so clever.
Yeah, so I couldn't give a shit if they get in or not. Like if they're in, great, better atmosphere. If they're not, get it up you. But the fact that we're baiting them into having to go groveling to the SPFL was I'm delighted with that move.
And it's a win-win for Celtic because either you don't have Rangers fans in Celtic Park, or the SFA has to tell us, and then we just blame them, and they say, "Well, we never wanted to do it. It's the organisers."
Yeah, and then we get back in for the next one as well in March.
Yeah, and exactly. Yeah. No, I'm enjoying the tit for tat. Absolutely. Yeah.
Well, I love that. Celtic come out and said, "Yeah, well, we'll do this, but if they want to do it for the next derby that they're hosting and go back to a ticket allocation, we're happy to do that for the second batches of the season."
Yeah.
Because we've got the home game after the split.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Look, I mean, ideally, look, if we were to not take the bias out of it a second, as a neutral, right? If you were a neutral, it is good to see when there's we were back to the days where there's 8,000 of us in the away ends and stuff, and that atmosphere was great and stuff. And I've been to a few of those games where it was just, it's enjoy. It's just that's what you want. It's what you support Celtic for, is games like that. But no, at this point, if they're going to reduce us to 800, then we reduce them to 800. They block us out, we block them out, and that's fine. That's just how it goes. And until we're told otherwise or forced to change, that's the system. That's the system. That's the game that they have set up. They've made the bed. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's not. We've never started over on this side. It's completely started for their side because they couldn't hack us winning. That was it. That's the whole system started when they reduced us from 8,800. So
yeah. So just something that just came in mind that's actually not exactly related to this is there's a stitch up coming down the line, and I'm just going to flag it right now. Put a flag in this, a pin in this. 3rd of November, okay? Of the top 7 teams in the league, we are obviously one of them, which means there's 6 other teams. Of that 6 teams, we have played 5 of them away in the first round of fixtures, which means when it comes to the post-split, the only team we are scheduled to play not at Celtic Park. So, like, the only team that we are scheduled to play away after the split, if it finishes the way it is today, is Dundee United, and every other game should be a home game. So we're going to get 3 away games against Hearts, Hibs, or Aberdeen, or Motherwell, whoever. So we're going to get stitched up.
Stitched up out of 2 home games.
We're going to have basically one of those top teams. We're going to have 3 away and 1 home. So here, I'm just flagging it now. It's going to happen.
Yeah, of course it is. Operation Stop Celtic.
Mm-hmm.
At all costs.
Well, you say that, John. See, that's a bit of a. I'm going to use that as a bit of a carry on. So the next topic I got on our run sheet is Hibs games versus Ross County and Livingston are off due to a COVID outbreak at Hibs. Do you guys hear about this?
Yeah.
I actually heard about it like 5 minutes before kickoff. I was like, what?
So I saw this tweet and it summed up exactly what I was thinking. So I'm just going to read it. Double standards once again in the SPFL. Post-due buys, Celtic were made to play a couple of games with 16 players and staff isolating due to 1 COVID case. Hibernia allowed to postpone games not once now, but twice. And then it goes only fighting the corrupt Scottish FA and the complicit SPFL. I just thought, yeah, that sums it up in a way that I know the way the testing and everything has changed, but still, it kind of grinds my gears a little bit where I'm like, we were forced to play guys who had no right to be playing in the Scottish Premiership for Celtic at that point last year. And I know that's in the past and everything, but yeah, as far as I'm concerned, they shouldn't be postponed. And if they have to play the under-18s, play the under-18s. I thought that's what the agreement was at the start of the season.
I think when we had to do ours, that was after Kilmarnock had been forced to forfeit. And then after, so like maybe February, March, I don't remember when, Kilmarnock won their appeal against those four. Is that right? Am I right? And they had and they got to play the games. So it was like we played it in the middle of it, as in it was after teams had forfeited and before they'd won those appeals against the forfeits. So,
yeah, but I'm talking about this actual season going in. The league actually come out at the start of the season and said that going into it, there's not going to be any games delayed for COVID regulations. Teams are going to be forced. This was actually said in the preseason. I remember reading it. And I remember James Forrest on the Celtic blog did a big write-up on it too with all sorts of different issues. It was like a 7 or 8 page thing that you'd have to go through and read it all. But one of the things said that if that happened, because of rapid testing, they could lock guys down sooner. And then if they had to, you had to play the reserves, you had to play the under-18s, whatever, or it was a forfeit. They were your 2 options. That was all you had. So the fact that they've been allowed to postpone games 5 months later after that decision would have been made. It's just, I don't know. I just find it not right.
Mm.
We would look if we're to take that as just that's the matter of the fact, right? With all the stuff that was said beforehand, you would expect consistency, and as a minimum expectation within the context of this season. So if that's what's said beforehand, me personally, I think the context of last year might not necessarily apply this year. I think we've moved on quite a lot in the pandemic from. Look, I think the controversy is actually last year we shouldn't have played those games full stop. The controversy this year, if the Hibs game was to go ahead, that would be I would say that would be a wrong decision. So they're probably making the right decision now, and they made the wrong decision last year, and that needs to be focused in that context for last year. But if they had said beforehand, as you're saying, Jarrod, that postponement of games was just not going to happen for COVID, and they've gone ahead and done that, then some sort of investigation. I think I might have read somewhere that Celtic were trying to investigate this, or there was some sort of investigation going on or something like that, just or a query about why that was happening. So it'd be interesting to see any results of something like that coming out. But yeah, it's not great, but I'm not outraged by it or anything.
At the end of the day, I'm not too fussed about it. Like, I hope whoever's got COVID at Hibs, they recover quickly, they get better. I hope whoever's been close contact, they don't end up getting a positive test off the back of it, all that sort of stuff, because of the whole human element of it. But at the same time, I just want consistency, and I want whatever the rules are. If what they've said in pre-season is what it's going to be this season, that's what you've stated on the record. So as far as I'm concerned, that's what you've got to apply. So, yeah, they probably shouldn't be playing the games, but if they came out and said it pre-season and actually specifically said it and there was articles written about it and it was debated and it was on BBC, on podcasts, the works, then as far as I'm concerned, that's what they have to do. You can't move the goalpost mid-season.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I also think just on that, I think what we all deserve is some transparency. So if there are a set of circumstances and factors that we're not aware of that has made this decision happen, then we absolutely have a right to find out why that is. Because, fans spend a lot of money in investing in supporting their teams. So, we might not be shareholders, might not be owners. We might not have a direct financial investment in these clubs or Scottish football, but we, spend a lot of money and a lot of time, and we deserve more transparency that's been given from all the organisers, from the SPFL, from the SFA, from Hibs, from whoever. We deserve some sort of communication. All of us.
If you went into a department store and you wanted to buy something and they were treating you shit, you wouldn't go back, would you?
No, exactly.
So, and I know that's a bit of a strange leap here, but you've got to treat your customers with integrity and be open with them and treat them right. And yeah, I think that's pretty much what I took out of what you were saying there, John.
No, exactly. In that analogy, if you were going to a department store every single day, buying something that for £5, but you've been going there for the last 20 years, and all of a sudden that thing that you're buying has been shifted or moved, or because somebody's made a decision, and that's affected you because you go in every single day to get that thing. I think you have a right to be at least being told why it's been moved or why that set of circumstances has changed. You might not have a right or a say in what's happening, but a bit of communication would be the minimum that you're probably due there. So yeah, you're absolutely right. Maybe customer service, but beyond that, a bit more, I don't know, just clarity, decency. Yeah. But there you go. That's my little 2 cents on that.
All right. Next topic we'll crack onto is the Scotland squad for the international break. So I'll go through it. So Xander Clark got a call up, Craig Gordon and John McLaughlin. We've got Liam Cooper, Grant Hanley, Jack Hendry, Scott McKenna, Stephen O'Donnell, Nathan Patterson, Andy Robertson, Kieran Tierney, even though he's injured, Stuart Armstrong, Lewis Ferguson, Billy Gilmore, John McGinn, Kel McGregor, Kenny McLean, Scott McTominay, David Turnbull, Shay Adams, Jacob Brown from Stoke got a call up, Ryan Christie, Lyndon Dykes, Ryan Fraser, Kevin Nisbet. Now, so Celtic only has 2 players in the squad, which I found a bit odd considering how dominant we used to be in the thing there. And the one that jumps out to me is at the right back situation. Stephen O'Donnell, he deserves his spot. Nathan Patterson.
Yeah.
Now, I'm just going to go through a couple of little facts for you here. So, O'Donnell, 9 games, played 787 minutes, 0 goals, 1 assist, 319 passes, fouls conceded 8, tackles 1, 6. Nathan Patterson, 2 games played, 94 minutes, 1 assist, 53 passes, 2 fouls conceded, 1 tackles 1.
Sorry, what's the time frame on that?
That's for this season.
Oh, in the league. Okay.
He's played 2 games. And then the guy, the reason I'm bringing up, we discussed him earlier, Ralston. 10 games, 900 minutes, 3 goals, 2 assists, 685 passes, 23 fouls conceded, 18 tackles 1. So, my question, boys, did Ralston deserve a call-up ahead of Patterson? That's
yes. Sorry, I'll let you finish.
That's all I was going to say. Did he deserve a call-up and why?
Well, game time, if nothing else. Like, are you going to bring someone in that's not got minutes in their legs? Do you want me to tell you why I think Patterson's in there?
Go on.
2 reasons. One, to show that there's a fair, because Ryan Jack's injured is what I'm saying. If Ryan Jack was there, he'd be in the squad instead of Nathan Patterson, if you know what I'm saying. And the other being that on their social media, the SFA likes to put the little badge sponsored by JD Sports beside the names of players who have came through the Performance Academy, meaning Nathan Patterson and Billy Gilmore.
Yeah. Look, does Ralston deserve the call up? Yes, I think he does. I think he's very, very close to being in that squad. I mean, obviously, we all agree that he should be in it now, but I think as things are, he could probably move beyond Stephen O'Donnell at some point in the future if he continues the way he's going. Well, I just don't see why not. It's probably down to experience and minutes and all of that stuff. But yeah, Ralston deserves that spot 100%. Look, I think there's probably exactly what Sean's saying. There's a bit of like trying to seem fair and stuff. Look, James Forrest would be in that team in a flash as well if he wasn't just coming back off an injury and stuff. And yeah. Do we back in there's also an element though that when we weren't doing very well as a national squad, it was when it was Celtic in every single position bar the ones that we didn't actually have Scottish players in, and we just didn't get through to any of the European finals or World Cup finals or anything like that. So we don't necessarily, it's not a given that just because we want more Celtic players in there that it's the right thing or anything like that. But yeah,
John, can I come and join you in the tinfoil hat corner?
yeah.
And suggest that Steve Clark. Do you think Steve Clark is getting kickbacks for driving up the transfer value of Nathan Patterson, who's going to go to Everton in January?
Do you think he's getting kickbacks?
EBTs, Graham Souness style.
Maybe quite possible.
My comment about that when you're mentioning going to Everton, the real question is, if Patterson goes there, who's the main backup? Because they still got Coleman there, don't they? So who's going to be Coleman's backup? Is it going to be John Joe Kenny or Nathan Patterson?
Maybe they'll do a swap deal and John Joe Kenny will go to Ibrox. That'd be delightful. I would like to see that.
So I just did a quick count through of the Scotland squad, right? Players who are current, former, or youth players at Celtic, right? In the Scotland squad, there's 12 of them.
Right. Yeah.
So that shows a difference. Now, if you go through the Rangers side, I think there's 4, if my maths was right, if my memory's right. So, yeah, it's I wouldn't be too upset about it. But for me, the reason I said O'Donnell deserves his spot is because he's been working with Clark for that long. He knows that system inside out, and right back is a pretty weak spot in the current Scotland squad.
And look, some of the games, I'm just thinking back to the England-Scotland game where O'Donnell just played out his skin. It's not like he's a bad player at all. He's a very good player. I mean, it's just the best right back we have for the national squad and stuff. And I think Ralston's very close at his feet. Patterson, I actually don't know what he's like, to be honest.
And that's why I brought it up, John, because he's not even getting a run out for his own club because he's behind Tavernier. So how the fuck can he get a call up to the national team when he's not playing for his own club? You've got someone who's starting week in, week out, not just in the league, but in the Europa League, and is in the form of his life. At some point you've got to go with it.
You do. I think Ralston's got a reputation to shake. I think there's still a blemish, a mark against his name currently, and probably an unjustified one at his current form. But I think others maybe that aren't watching Celtic week in, week out and aren't focusing on our team and stuff probably still have this question mark over his abilities. But it'll go
based on his failed loans at St Johnstone and wherever else he was.
Yeah, and the times where he started, the PSG games and stuff like that and stuff. So there's
doesn't matter who you put it right back.
I like there's an element of that.
Starting it right back against PSV or PSG, it wouldn't have even mattered. Well, let's be honest, or Barcelona, it wouldn't have mattered. Like, let's be real here.
I think maybe others might have done a little bit better at that point, but I agree.
Can I get through a few with you? Jeremy Tollian.
Yeah, it would have been the same.
Would he have done better?
No.
For Scotland.
Yeah. When Ralston playing against Neymar in the PSG game.
Oh, right, against Neymar. No.
Yeah. Like there's like what we were just saying is like there's games like that have sort of stigmatized Ralston's ability. So even though he's doing very, very well now, there's probably still others that are outside of Celtic that have a question mark over his talents in that position, because the shit loans that he's had and some of the big games like the playing up against Neymar and stuff.
One more for you, John. Christian Gamboa at right back.
Yeah.
Many people in that position that have been pretty shit for us that it's not going to matter who was in that role. Yeah,
absolutely.
Anyway.
Look, it's not like it's not me that you needed to convince. It's probably Stephen Clark or the people that make those types of decisions, that see those things and just maybe just give them a very superficial attention. And then,
if you're listening, Steve Clark, because I know you're a regular listener and everything, give us a call, mate. Give us a call or an email. Let us know, because you want to.
Yeah.
All right, so we've got a game against Ferencvaros in the Europa League, Friday our time, Thursday over in the UK. What are you expecting to see from the game, Sean?
It's going to be. It could go one of two ways, really. I think it'll be a pretty even game. I'm hoping to see some minutes for James Forrest, whether that's hopefully starting. But I would be looking to save a few players for. I guess is it home to Dundee the weekend after? So I don't know, but I'd be looking for a squad selection which has the weekend in mind, but also wants to get at least a point from the game. Because if we get a point, then like Ferencvaros are cooked, and we've got at least third place in the group, which is at the moment a realistic target. Like if we win, brilliant. We can actually take those last two games seriously and go for a qualifying spot. But if we draw, fine. Third place is pretty much secure. I want to not get injuries, I guess, is what I'm worried about.
What about score prediction then for you, Sean?
Yeah, one each. I'm going to say 1-1.
John, what are you expecting from the game and the score prediction?
I think it's going to be much like Sean. I think it's going to be a really interesting game. I think we're going to really come out hard from the start. I think it's a game that both teams probably would like to win. But for us, we have the benefit of a win or a draw. Anything but a loss, basically, for us kind of gives us football beyond Christmas. I personally, I don't see Ange resting anybody for any game ever. It's the game that's, whatever he thinks is best for his opposition is probably what he's going to play. I would love to see James Forrest getting 50 minutes, 60 minutes, and just him scoring a goal would be fantastic. I think we're going to win from what we saw last time, and where we, the sort of style that we're playing just now. I think I'm saying 2-0 at home and everything. Yeah, so that's what I'm
saying. No, we're away.
It's away.
Oh, it's away. Oh, well, that bloody changes it. Look, maybe
we did win 2-0 at home, so congratulations.
Yeah, you did. Yeah. Maybe that's just what that was stuck in my head. Look, maybe not as much as a 2-0 win. Then maybe 2-1 win.
Yeah, I was going to say it'll be one of the ones where I think we'll get out there, we'll get 2 early goals. Probably by the 30th minute, we'll be up 2-0, and then we'll just, it'll just be a pretty even game the rest of the way, and then they'll grab a late one probably in the 75th, 80-minute mark, and then it'll be nervous as all hell for the last 10, 15 when you factor in stoppage time and everything. But I think, we'll get the 2-1 win.
Yeah, Leverkusen and Betis drew with each other in the last game, so we're 4 points. We're 4 points. No, not really, because now we're 4 points off second and first.
Oh, right.
So you want one of them to kill the other one, so that
you do. Yeah,
into second.
Yeah. That's
so
right.
Preferably
quick maths.
Leverkusen smash Betis, because then with how close our game was against Betis last time, and then we've got them at home in the last group stage game. That'd be the best one for us. Because do you really think we're going to go to Leverkusen and smack them? No.
Yeah, you're right. It's Betis we're targeting.
Yep. And then we've got on the weekend playing Dundee. So Lee Griffiths can't play in that game because he can't play his parent club. So yeah, what are you expecting to see going into that game, boys, before the international break? Go to you first, John.
I wouldn't be fussed if Lee Griffith played or not, to be honest. I would like to see us. I mean, I remember you saying, I won't hold this against you, Jarrod, but last time the big win against Livy didn't quite pan out that way.
Yeah, it was a 10 past
10-0. Yeah.
There was a 0 in it, that's for sure. Yeah, halfway there.
Halfway there, yeah.
Yeah.
I expect a big win. I think you're right, Jarrod, though, that we are due to absolutely pump a team, to be honest, and them putting 6 past in the last game and stuff. I think I'm going to say 5-0. That's what I'm going to go for against Dundee.
What are you thinking, Sean?
I think there's going to be some European fatigue. I think it will be depending on when we score first, either 2-0 or 3-0. I don't think Dundee will offer much threat, other than maybe a few Charlie Adams set pieces.
And the long pass to the cum dog.
Oh, God, that guy's a tool.
What a knob.
Yeah, so he can use his stupid Joker tattoo. Oh, my God.
Yeah. Absolute numpty. Love it. Yeah, so what are you thinking, Sean? The score?
2-0 or 3-0, depending on.
2-0,
I'll commit to 2-0.
And I'm going with a 3-0 win. And Giakoumakis is going to have a hat trick as a way to silence the haters for missing the penalty.
That's what he needs to do. He needs to turn up for the next game and just shut him up.
And just be like, that's enough out of you. Shh.
Yeah.
Number 7 is up as your centre forward. Just deal with it.
This is me sort of stuff. Yeah. Yep. He does need to do that.
All right. So just going to give a quick shout out to Liam. Hope everything's all right, mate. Miss you, bud. Get on next week or whatever. And condolences again to your family. It's a tough time. Final thought, boys, for the pod. Sean, we'll go first. I saw yours and pissed myself laughing earlier.
Oh, yeah. I was just thinking one epic game of hide and seek from Cleo Smith that just came to an end today. Nice try, Cleo, but Maddie McCann still got the record.
Oh, fucking hell. Oh, Jesus.
John, do you want to go next, or do you want me to go? And then close yourself.
Yeah. Okay. So mine's a little bit of a different vibe, I guess. I just saw during the week there was an article that came out that was Celtic have basically admitted that for the foreseeable, at least, there's going to be no sort of renovation to the infrastructure at Barrowfield and the South Stand stuff. That's off the books. All capital is getting invested into the first team, apparently. And they have, though, opened up what was suggested to them, and they said we're still open to that, is sending out, I think it's a share order. Is that the correct terminology? And if that does happen, and there is opportunities to buy more shares, I think that's the perfect opportunity to jump on the bandwagon for the Celtic Trust and for fans to actually start owning big parts of the club. I'm not saying we're going to dominate ownership like the German teams are or anything, but it's, if that happens, I would say that's the opportunity for anyone who wants to buy as many shares as they can afford and Celtic move towards fan ownership.
And I wanted to touch on something that I was going to say last week but didn't. So those watching the news, there's a player over here in the A-League called Josh Cavallo, who is the first openly gay male footballer. So I just like to say it's a great step forward. Well done, Josh, and live your life, mate. It's good to see. Just be your best self. That's pretty much it. So I think it's pretty fucked that he had to come out and actually, come out in public. As far as I'm concerned, whose business is it? But if that makes him happier and more content, well, good luck to the guy.
Exactly.
We all still live in the shadow of Justin Fashanu, unfortunately.
Exactly. All right. So if you're still hanging around at this point, please go to our Facebook page and group, give them a like and a follow, Instagram and Twitter at Celtic Down. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel, find our website, CelticDownUnder.com. And yeah, boys, let's hope we get some wins and hail, hail.
Hail, hail.